Hello there, and welcome to Thank the Maker, a podcast about heroes, princesses, scoundrels, hokey religions, ancient weapons, and all things Star Wars. I'm Adam Russell.
And I'm Nick Gambarian.
And it's Mike Forrester. Nick is here. Adam is here. It's been a day for Star Wars news, and it's also going to be a weekend for us.
Yes,
because
sir.
we all get to spend time together
Uh-huh.
at the When We Were Young Festival.
The full
So
cast.
It's great. It's great. And I think Ryan is doing something. I texted him and said, hey, let us know what's happening this weekend. He's in Los Angeles right now, which makes me think that he's doing something else. So casually just being like, hey, we just did Ocean Avenue with the Jonas Brothers. I was like, all right,
Cool.
he's pretty busy. Makes sense, but we'll get to see him this weekend, which is great. And what else is going on?
I don't know. I love this time of the year. That's all I know. It feels like I can't remember who I was talking to just about feeling like When We Were Young is like every 3 months, but a full year ago. I'm like, no, it was like 3 months ago. And then I remember everything I've done for the last year. I'm like, oh, I lived a whole year since then, but it feels like it was 3 months ago.
Well, the last 2 months have felt like 8 months to me.
That's for sure.
So I have I totally feel what you're saying, and I simultaneously feel a complete reversal.
Isn't that the weirdest thing, though? Like,
yeah,
it's so strange.
Yeah,
Time has
only
been moving slow first for me, maybe because I haven't lived on the road or in a studio or any of these things. So let's give a little preview for people who are going to be in Las Vegas this weekend. Adam, will there be a new Story of the Year song dropping in your set?
Well, you're gonna have to take a look at the old Instagram, social media, the other social media things.
I'm
Story of the Year
burning
on
to
things.
know what's happening.
And just pay attention there. Things will happen.
Something about a match. Are you covering a devotion and desire? I think there's something about fire in that song.
Maybe we're covering My Eyes Turned by Matchbook Romance. No. I
don't say too much.
I want to say things, but I can't.
Can't do it. Can't do it. But regardless, Story of the Year is playing both days, Saturday, Sunday at 4:15, 4:20, 4:30. What time is your
4
set?
something? I think 4:30 sounds right. Yeah, middle of the day. Great slot.
4-ish.
And we have the side show at Brooklyn Bowl the night before, Friday, whatever that date is, with the Cab.
Yeah.
That'll be a good time. We'll all be there hanging as well.
They haven't been around, right? They're like a Vegas band. Are they getting back together for this weekend or something? Or am I
have no idea.
I feel like they're a Vegas band, and I haven't heard their name in a while. So
they just came up as an option, and we said, sure, sounds good.
That's great. Okay,
so doing a little bowling, actual bowling there as well. So that's good.
Adam, is this another sport where you're like oddly good at because you're the kind of person who's like great at alternative sports?
Yeah, I'm only good at nerdy sports. Like, I'm not joking. Like, if I hadn't gotten into music and all this other stuff, I may have tried to be a pro bowler. I love it. It's like one of my favorite sports. Bowling, ping pong. I really got into darts for a minute. Like, only solo sports that are kind of nerdy.
For sure. This is a guy who, like, any sport you could have a beer while you're playing.
Yes.
Golf, darts.
Golf for sure.
Yeah, like
bowling and golf, I have to maintain like a low level buzz. It's like part of the experience. It's a anxiety reducer. Yeah.
Of course. So this is good. This is good stuff. So Ryan will be playing. I think their set is at 2:15 or 2:30. They're on the main stage, and so they'll be doing that. And they have they've got a couple new songs in their set, which is awesome. I wonder if we're going to hear a new one because I think now that the album is out. Have you heard we've all listened to the album? We got Avril on the album. Skiba's on the album from Alkaline Trio.
It's great.
I love that track.
I've heard more than the singles that were out just from, being on tour and them playing stuff, but I haven't listened to the full thing yet. So
yeah,
full transparency, I'm not a great friend on that level, but
classic.
I've heard only good things.
I got
clearly
to it. I messaged him yesterday saying I finally got to it because I went to like 2 shows since Friday, and had things going on. So
Yeah,
I'm also more of a, when I'm home, I'm also more of a podcast person. So, and not for nothing, I know we probably haven't talked about this all together, but like I've been off Spotify for like 2 months and I'm using this streaming app called Qobuz. So I'm still like finding my way around it. It's like learning. This app is like learning who I am, So like the Yellow Card album hasn't showed up on Qobuz yet because like I haven't been on it for 15 years of my life. So
right. So it was like we've noticed that Yellow Card is not female fronted indie rock. Are you feeling okay? Right. And then Nick that's true naturally. Nick, for you are hosting a couple tours at the Punk Rock Festival. I'm sorry, Punk Rock Museum, and you're doing Friday, Saturday, and Sunday,
and Monday. So I got one on Friday at 3:30, and then every other day is 1 and 3:30. I do them every year. It's great. It's fun. It also gives me a reason to go to the festival when we're not playing, which I love. I just love being in Vegas this time of the year. So yeah, I'll be there. It takes up a lot of my day. I am missing Yellow Card and Story because I'm not able to be like on site until 5 because I'm busy all day. So sorry.
Okay.
I think you've probably seen us enough times. I'm not going to pressure you for that.
Right. Okay, good. Well, me and our dear friend Kate Sabaker are getting in at the same time on Friday. We're going to make our way over there and then come see you on Friday. I know Ryan is doing a mini DJ set, I think, at one of the Live hotels. That's also on Friday, which just so happens to be, they're pretty close.
Probably at like 3 a.m. or something insane, right?
No, it's at like 1:30 p.m., which I was like, what? I was like, just do it at 6. Do
EDM
it at
brunch
any other time, right? Yeah. So it'll be regardless if any of our listeners or anyone who is in the mosh sphere and you see us, come say hi. It would be wonderful to connect with you all, and I'm excited. I've actually never been to Vegas. I've been to Reno, but not Vegas. It's my first time. So it's just I'm not a casino. I'm not a casino person.
It's crazy because I feel like I've hung out with you in Vegas.
You haven't. There's many other bearded men with slight comb-overs. No, I've never been there. So
Mandela effect.
Yeah, 100%. So this will be really fun. And
now's a good time to maybe start checking out Vegas because of all the cool stuff that's happening that isn't casino related. I feel like the whole town is turning over in a way, So
yeah. Regardless, it's going to be a great time. When we were young, there's a great. The lineup is awesome. Panic is doing Fever Can't Sweat Out after 20 years.
They're closing the festival too
after Blink-182, which is wild to me.
Well, Blink already they already destroyed it last year, so
sure. Okay, well, we'll make sure to go see that. I've got to see them once a year. This will be great.
They're a good band, Let's talk a second, or if you guys don't mind letting me talk for a second about the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer, which I finally saw.
There he is. He saw it. Okay, do you want me to go?
Yeah, you guys are going to have to both lay on the ground and cover your ears. So as you guys know, I wanted to wait and see it in a theater. So Tron Legacy came out. My wife and I were going to brunch and saw, there's like a 10:30 a.m. screening. Just get a ticket for that because I have the AMC Stubs A-list thing. So it's just included, free, So got that. Went in, watched the trailer, came out, went to brunch, didn't even watch the movie, And it was magical. I'll just say that. I teared up just seeing that universe, that part of the Star Wars universe on the big screen. I can tell you already, it's not going to disappoint. Even if the movie just feels like a long episode, seeing it that way is going to be such an experience that we've been waiting for so long. And that little tease was just perfect. Like you guys said, it doesn't show hardly any plot. There's no indication of what is really going to happen. And for those who aren't super deep nerds who are paying attention to spoilers and or getting fed spoilers by accident like we are, you don't necessarily know who or why certain characters are in there and what the implications might be. So I'm glad that that's the kind of trailer they're going with. I'm so glad that it's in theaters now. It would have been cooler if it happened sooner, but it's out there, and I'm pumped, dude. Tears came to my eyes. It was perfect.
It's beautiful.
That's great.
Did you get a chance to listen to our breakdown of the trailer yet? Now that you've seen it,
I haven't yet, but I'm back in an almost normal podcast, free time for podcast kind of schedule now that the video shoot is done and I'm done with the edit and everything. So I'm catching up on podcasts, and that's in my queue because I want to hear my dudes talk about it, and this is the way.
It's interesting. Looking back on it, there's a lot of stuff that I'm glad that we picked up on, but I think the next big thing is going to be the Super Bowl ad, which I assume will be a little bit more. But even Jeremy Allen White
trailer.
Yeah, that's what I think. Because even the one inkling that gives me an idea that either we might get a Christmas trailer or we might get something else. I assume they're going to wait for the Super Bowl at this point. That would be 4 months out. Jeremy Allen White was asked about it on Good Morning America, promoting the Springsteen biopic, right? And Michael Strahan's like, "Oh, hey, I got to talk about this. You're also in Star Wars," which again, we know that Good Morning America is Disney and ABC and all that. So I think that might have been a little plug they put in there, but he was very topical and said, "Oh yeah, I ran into John. We talked movies. I said huge Swingers fan. Okay, cool. Would you want to be in the movie?" He talks about, he's like, "Yeah, I love Star Wars. It's definitely going to be one that I'm going to show my kids," which makes me think exactly what we've been saying. Get kids back to the movies, make them be excited about Star Wars. This sounds like it's shaping up to be exactly what we need, frankly.
Yeah, that was the one. Talking about kids, that was the one takeaway that I did have, aside from the feeling of seeing Star Wars in the theater, was they're leaning really hard they're daring to be cute.
Sure.
To quote Lucas. Yeah. They're really leaning into Grogu as the hook for this whole thing, and I'm on board.
What was your favorite? Like, we're not going to go too deep into this, but what was your favorite thing that you saw in it? Just like a quick scene or quick something. What was you were like, yes?
I mean, two things. One, the AT-AT falling off the cliff.
Sure.
It was a long extended clip with a classic character, because I feel like those things are characters, right?
Right.
It slows in a quick teaser trailer to slow down and see something like that in its entirety was really cool. And then the line at the end, like, what is the
good shot, baby.
Good shot, baby. Yeah. I thought that was great.
Yeah, that's good. That's real good. Good. Yeah. I'm in. I'll go see it.
Yeah. We'll probably check it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
You want to know something that I'm realizing? So I'm thinking Bayside's going to play Slam Dunk Festival in the UK. It's that weekend, though.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Which is fine. Obviously, I could see it in the UK, but
what if
Desi worked on the movie, and she wants to go together, and I'm like,
gotta go to the UK. We all have to go to the UK.
We all have to go to the UK.
Sure, I've never been there either, so looking forward to. Do you have like a bass guy that's different than your actual bass guy? Because I could along.
We do have a bass guy.
I know, but I want to be
guy.
Yeah, I know, but I want to be the extra bass guy. You know what I mean?
How are you at tour managing?
You kidding? I manage you guys. We can make it work. Let's go.
Hey, Slam Dunk is a hell of a festival. That would be a good one to go to.
It's been a minute since we played it, so, and it'll be like 3 years in a row of us going overseas, which is some big boy stuff for us. Finally, we're the world's most American band. We never go overseas.
Yeah, you guys are like the Bruce Springsteen of pop punk and emo. All right, let's just take one more moment before we get into the New York Comic Con stuff to talk about and pay tribute to the legendary Drew Struzan, who we just found out has died at the age of 78. Not that old. Sucks a lot. It sucks a lot. Do you guys know details? Was he battling anything? Is this out publicly?
Yeah, he had a stroke a couple of years ago, and the writing was kind of on the walls that he wasn't able to draw anymore. He wasn't able to create things, and then kind of after the stroke, it was a lot of like, we're going to start turning down interviews, and you could, at least from my outside perspective, you could kind of see that he was going downhill. And it's a really sad thing in many ways because Drew represented. I've got his book right here. Please do, if you can get this book. This is The Art of Drew Struzan, with a lot of his iconic pieces, because in some ways, the way that there's a great documentary on him called Drew, and I think it's either on YouTube or it's on Netflix, but his process and his form and the things that he was able to do pre-Photoshop. Photoshop was available. He just chose not to do it. This is like old school art, right? Between, placing drawings, using different tracing paper to figure out exactly where the characters would be as he was painting the backgrounds at a different depth of field using different techniques. Then he would be doing airbrush. To think that, obviously we're a Star Wars podcast, but his body of work in terms of the other iconic, if you are a fan of Hollywood, Drew Struzan, there's a good chance that he made your favorite poster, which I think is really like one of those things.
If you're in the top 2 or 3 demographics that we see statistically, listen to this podcast, you've seen dozens of his movie posters, and a lot of them are probably some of your favorite movies.
Yeah, and if you, I'm even just reading through, like, in the contents right here, even just a couple that we'll read through, all of the Indiana Jones, many of the all of the Back to the Futures, a lot of the prequels for Star Wars, and then ends up doing limited the special edition art, Coming to America, Adventures in Babysitting, Big Trouble in Little China, The Thing, The Flintstones, the Harry Potter series, Sorcerer's Stone, Chamber of Secrets, Hellboy, Shawshank Redemption, Green Mile, Pan's Labyrinth, Blade Runner. Like, when you hear those movies, there's a good chance that you also see Drew's art top of mind.
Yeah, that iconic hand-drawn movie poster style that is, something that goes as far back as movies do. But his style, it's like, how would you analogize it to? There you go. How would you analogize it to music? It's like he took old influence from old stuff, old styles, and gave it an updated spin that just created a whole new era. You know what I mean?
In some ways, you could almost say that it was like essentially like a Dr. Dre. You know what I mean? Like, he was, many artists were hand painting stuff. Many artists were using colored pencils, airbrush, all those things. But the way that he was able to utilize all these different techniques and put them into one poster was almost like being the producer mixing up a 1970s classic Motown beat and then turning up the speed and then making it so that, like, when you think of NWA, you actually don't realize that you're listening to an old Marvin Gaye song. Yeah, because you only hear NWA at that point, because that is so iconic. And so when you think of a lot of these illustrations, and he was smart, he was funny in the way that he would approach how, like, digital art, and how he was constantly at battle with the studios because the studios were constantly trying to save money, right? And so he talks about it when he did Harry Potter, the Sorcerer's Stone, which is, iconic in its own right, and then does the Chamber of Secrets, and then the studio Warner Brothers decides to do photos for the rest of the movies. And he was like, it's a shame because I had sketches for all of them, but they just decided not to use them. And so, like, looking back on his iconic work, he was also the one who did this, which I encourage people to pick up this one too. He has a foreword in this, but the iconic Revenge of the Sith. This is
Revenge of the Jedi.
Revenge of the Jedi. I'm sorry. Revenge of the Jedi with the inverse lightsabers. This is the long lost teaser poster. And then, he's so much more than Star Wars. Obviously, his work inspired people like Paul Shipper. even go ahead, Nick.
I was gonna say, like, I was gonna ask, and then I decided not to ask and just find the answer myself. But you know those very sick, like, Rise of the Resistance and Smuggler's Run posters that are for sale in Galaxy's Edge?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think they look so similar that I was like, I wonder if he did those. So I just looked it up, and he did not. But I mean, it's an artist named Greg Pro who did those.
Yeah.
They look pretty damn close to his style.
Yeah. Well, and then you have Ethan Pro, who I just sent over a Back to the Future poster to Adam from Ethan Pro, who's another artist who does that style. And so when you think of that kind of like, I don't know, what would you call it? Like almost like a character map where it's got a bunch of different characters on the posters, which was so iconically Drew Struzan, but not in a corny way like the studios do, where it's just a bunch of photographs of their heads based on whoever, has to get bigger billing. The work that he does, even in his sketches, was Photoshop worthy. I mean, his color theory, the way that he was able to use a light source and have all these things, it's incredible. So I would certainly say one of the most iconic artists of the last 100 years, easily, in terms of Hollywood. I don't think there's many other people who maybe come to the front as quick as Drew Struzan does, especially as his name was tied to so many blockbusters and so many huge hits of cinema. So it's a real loss for the art community. But again, I hope that as people go back in his work and see his process, because he was very open about how he did things. If you pick these books up, you can see exactly where it starts. And it starts with a pencil and an eraser. And in some ways, that's the same way that Star Wars started, with some notes on a paper and said, I'm going to create a galaxy. So a huge loss for not only Star Wars fans, but everyone who's been inspired by visual arts. Is probably influenced by Drew Struzan in some way.
Producer Jason made a great comp. John Williams is probably not a bad comparison, he said, in the way that
absolutely.
Williams pulled very directly from all of his influences, some by his own design and some at the request of George Lucas, and elevated those things, sort of, quote, remixed them in a way for a whole new era of Hollywood.
Yeah, 100%.
It's a good comp. I like that. Good comp.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get into talking about the fun stuff that we learned about Star Wars at New York Comic Con 2025 that we've learned from the news that came from there. None of us were at the con, but there were some big Lucasfilm publishing announcements. So not much in the way of what we have come to the screen, but quite a bit that we're going to see on the page, whether it's comics, novels, art of books, and the like. A lot of really fun stuff to look forward to. So we can get in and kind of talk about these piece by piece. Some of the stuff we already kind of knew was coming, but we learned a little bit more, and some of it is completely fresh. So got some slides to go along with this conversation. I'm going to bring those up now. The first one that I think we're excited about here at this podcast, because we love the sequels, is Star Wars Legacy by Madeline Rue, a novel that, quote, will explore the relationship of Leia and Rey in the months between the events of The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker. In the aftermath of losing Luke Skywalker and Kylo Ren's refusal to return to the light, Rey and Leia join forces to repair the broken Skywalker lightsaber and the shattered legacy of the Jedi Order. That's coming out next July. I'm excited. I'm excited to read this, to hear, even to just hear what the story is.
Mm-hmm.
This is obviously like a story that has to be told. They can't be told in live action so much at this point because Carrie Fisher is gone. But I'm excited to see how the lore is filled in, because we got so little of it in The Rise of Skywalker because Carrie had died. What do you guys think? Have you heard anything more about this? Do you have expectations? What are your vibes?
I'm like, oh, I guess I'm reading a Star Wars book again. I mean, the last one I read was Shadow of the Sith. That filled in a lot of Rise of Skywalker, and I thought that was excellent. So if this is even half as good as that, then this will be great. So, I mean, my first initial reaction when I saw someone post about this was what we said last week. Animation. Would just love to see this in animation, but I'll take a book for now.
Yeah, I think all in all, like, this is very encouraging for people who have. I think I don't know if I want to say like Disney has really like pumped the brakes on things in regards to the sequel trilogy, but this is a very encouraging sign that, like, between Starfighter and all of this real big, in my opinion, like uptick in Rey-ness, knowing that Daisy had really great talks with Kathleen Kennedy. We had gotten the news announcement that there was going to be a Rey story. This is really encouraging news because Daisy Ridley has, in my opinion, not only the acting chops, but I think at this point the respect and the star power to be able to get us into a new era of Star Wars, and I think that's awesome. So the fact that they're putting crumb trails out there for people to follow them and say, hey, we're only trying to make what's coming even better, I think that's a great sign. So giving Rey a little bit more, essentially basically filling in more parts of the story is awesome. And I think, looking at this one particularly, we've got Rey on here with the repaired lightsaber, Kylo back with his mask, and then you have a Rise of Skywalker era Rey in her outfit. So this is exciting, in my opinion.
I did not see Kylo on the cover until now.
Well, hey, I'm here to help.
He's hiding. In
He's
the
just a
Patreon
little
chat,
guy.
43% Burnt Anakin says, y'all think we're going to get some Batu or Star Cruiser in this book? I would love to at least have it mentioned. At the very least, that I wouldn't be fully satisfied by that, but it'd be nice.
Yeah, it'd be nice to be like, oh yeah, and we casually got into an epic battle aboard a cruise ship. And then we just kind of went our own ways. I'm like, yeah, I was there. I saw it. It was sick.
Yeah, I would love for our experiences to be re-solidified as canon.
That would be cool.
Next one. I know the folks at Star Wars Explained are excited about this one. Eyes Like Stars by Ashley Poston. This is a straight-up Star Wars romance novel. Straightforward. That's supposed to be the vibe. It's a young adult novel featuring a couple in search of their happily ever after in a galaxy far, far away. It's set a year and a half before The Force Awakens. All new characters, a mysterious artifact, and the First Order. Summer 2026.
Interesting. I mean,
why not?
I'm with you, Nick. I think, like, if you look at where not Wings of Fire, what's the other one? The Fourth Wing. My coworkers are crazy about this stuff. This is basically like Anakin Skywalker vibes, but it's a different thing. They're tapping into going, if people are into romance novels right now, we have a bookstore here in our little tiny town that is just romance novels.
The windows are always steamed up.
It's always steamy. I never know what's going on in there. I can't read. But it's I think it's a smart move on their side of things to say, hey, if we have authors that want to write in this universe and they want to bring some of their readership over, again, it's a good thing. Bring more people into the fandom.
Lube it up. The next one, I'm surprised this is dropping, but also not. Already being announced. The Art of the Mandalorian and Grogu. We've waited so long for the art of books for some other things. So it's refreshing to know that this is announced long before this movie even comes out. Written by Phil Shostak. Awesome. This will be, of course, just what it sounds like. Insight into the concept and creation of visual elements of the Clan of Two's first big screen adventure. Also includes a look back at artwork from Season 3 of The Mandalorian, as well as moments from the Book of Boba Fett. That'll come out in September. So we're big fans of art of books over here. What was the quote from Doug Chang that was both confusing and frustrating from his panel, Mike?
I remember being like, after he gave me that answer, I was like, I find that answer vague and unconvincing.
Yeah.
We had asked him, we said, we're, art of books, are we going to get Ahsoka Art of Ahsoka? Are we going to get Art of Book of Boba Fett? Because there's so much great work in there. And I understand at the time there was a lot of stuff that was happening digitally because they had to share it via COVID, right? So you're not going to have the same. We're going to get 40 people in a room. We've got all these drawings and all this kind of stuff. And so I think if this is the way to supplement that and kind of basically acknowledge all of the work that had gone into those two shows, I'll take it. I wish we had standalone books. I'm a huge fan of them. I'm looking at them all right now. But he had said the art of books don't sell. And I was like, Doug, there's no way. What was funny about that is I went up and asked him. He said the art of books don't sell. And then literally like an hour later, they were like, Art of Andor, you're going to want to pre-order that. I was like,
yeah,
come on, man. What's going on? Why you got to do me like that? So regardless, I'm excited about this.
I mean, I wonder if he was just sort of in a way just outing the folks in big business that just sort of like passing on the answers he gets because he may be as frustrated as us.
It's possible.
Instead of saying, they tell me that they don't sell, he just says, they don't sell, even though I'm selling one right now to you on stage.
Exactly. Right. And I'm buying it. I'm absolutely buying it. And then his own book comes out too. I would love to know from our chat how many of you have the art of books, or at least have a Star Wars, what would be considered an art book. Either it's, a visual dictionary from DK or whoever, because I just picked up also from our podcast buddy of Talking Bay 94, Brandon Winerdy. I just picked up that encyclopedia, the new updated list of starfighters, and it's awesome. And so I would be very interested to know how many of our listenership have those books. How many have you had at one point? I know that the big, tall, white ones with the gold edge, I think at some point everyone had those in the mid 2000s. And they've built out so many different little books that I think it's awesome to look at them as a collection. Nick, I know that you are a guy who has limited space with all of the other hobbies that you have. Do you have any of these books, art of books? Do you guys have any of them? I know that Desi,
I believe I have the Galaxy's Edge one.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the only actual art of that I have.
And that is, who did that?
I don't know. It's on my shelf in the living room where I am not right now.
Where you're not. Yeah, I mean, all of them are awesome. So I'm excited about this. I hope that it does. I hope that it does it justice in terms of being able to give us the stuff that's not just press release stuff, but there is enough in this movie that gives me a lot of encouragement. And I think from Doug's standpoint, I could see how some of these books don't sell because thanks to Amazon, our mentality on books has been absolutely ravaged, from the sense of being like, I can go to Target right now and buy a book that I try to buy as many of these books from my local bookstore. And the same day that they're released, I go to Target and it's 30% off.
Yeah.
And people know that if you wait a week, you can go on Amazon and get them used for almost half off. So from that standpoint, it's like the whole industry of how books are distributed is kind of broken, in my opinion, based on what I've seen. So for Doug to say they don't sell, I don't know if that doesn't mean they're not on bookshelves, because I would say they're definitely on bookshelves, but I don't know if they sell at full price.
Not to mention, a lot of the information you get out of these ends up becoming social media content.
Oh, 100%.
It's not like reading a story, going and grabbing a comic book and you enjoy that experience of holding a comic in your hand. It's like people want to know the information and they wait for, Skynobi Star Wars or Star Wars Explained or something to talk about it on social media or YouTube or something. And they, people get their fix for the information there. And then they go, of course, Wikipedia has all the relevant information in it. So unless you're a person that really wants to just stare at the art in real life, you're maybe not the customer base.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That makes sense. I'm going to buy it. I'm pre-ordering it. I've already got Doug's. Well, first of all, Doug has his own legacy book, the Art of Doug Chiang, in both his work and then also his work in Star Wars. It's a 2-set coming out this, I think, in the beginning of December. And for people who are like Has Doug already had books out? I can show you this.
Well, save that for later, because we're going to bring up the Doug Chiang stuff shortly.
Great.
Save it. Slides in order. You know what I mean? Welcome to our TED Talk. This next one, Star Wars Visions Tsukumo, is a legit manga set in the I guess still non-canon Star Wars universe of Visions. This is one made by the creators of the latest Ultraman manga. This happens after Order 66. Quote, a lone Jedi Knight accompanies a pair of droids to a rumored droid's paradise, in quotes as well, while being pursued by the Empire. This comes out in July of next year. The cover looks amazing. We've got this sort of like hybrid stormtrooper looking kind of helmet. Mike, what is this? Do you know? Or is this something that is just of the Visions canon or non-canon?
This looks like non-canon to me. Please do someone tell me if we're wrong. But this looks like a Visions, kind of a reimagination of maybe it looks very familiar to a couple different helmets. Raimi's assassin, like his kind of bounty hunter helmet that he wore to Space Dive, looks super similar to this. But I think this is a Visions interpretation. The curvature on the above what would have been the cheek tube looks new to me.
It almost looks like maybe it has the vibe of like an unused First Order Stormtrooper concept.
The concept art. Yeah. I'm with you on that. It looks awesome.
Really, really cool. And that helmet on a Jedi in traditional Jedi robes and the blue lightsaber lit up. It looks incredible. I fairly recently read, what is it called? It's the manga that Live, Die, Repeat is based on, or maybe it is called Live, Die, Repeat. Edge of Tomorrow.
No, it's All You Need Is Kill.
That's right. All You Need Is Kill. I read that. That's the first manga that I've ever read. It took me a minute to get the vibe, get the feel for it, reading backwards. Yeah. But now that I've read that, I read it all in one sitting. I'm a terrible reader, but it's a perfect format for terrible readers. It really moves. So I'm pumped to check this out. Are we all like on the same level with how much we love the Vision stuff and excitement about
definitely. That? Yeah, I love it. It's definitely like, I think considering like that it's not canon, I think it's excellent. Like I could only imagine if somehow it would, like if these styles were canon stories, how much more I think we would all love it. But it's pretty damn good.
It's going to be really interesting to see, since they're doing Star Wars Visions Presents, whether or not they start to canonize some of these things.
Yeah.
And I wonder how they go about doing that. Do they just say it? Do they just declare it? Or do they put one of these characters in a canon story in some other format, in some other animated series, in a live action thing?
Well, what's funny to me... Oh, yeah, that's cool. Here, I'll talk through this for a little bit. Like, if right now, if every single Visions episode was canon, would it affect anything? You know what I mean? Like, why can't it be canon?
Right.
Like it really is there. I feel like it's almost to a fault. It's not canon. Like the creators are not using the canon. The fact that it's not canon enough. Like we should just see like Luke Skywalker doing some shit, like it's not canon, and it has no effect. So if you just put like whatever Ronin in one of those, in a story somewhere, and maybe that canonizes his story, because it really doesn't seem like it has an effect on any like ongoing story right now.
Patrons in Discord, correct us if we're wrong. Is there anything in any of the Vision seasons that mixes things up in a weird way, or uses anything in a way that goes against events in canon timeline or anything like that? Mike, is that the Art of Visions season 1, or what is that?
Yeah, this is the Art of Vision season 1. It's a very hard book to find. I looked far and wide for it because it had a very small release. It's awesome. If you love visions and you like the art of books, I would highly recommend picking this one up because it's got the, when Clone Wars was out, and I, again, pick up Art of Rebels, pick up Art of Clone Wars. Art of Clone Wars is very hard to find now. You're probably paying at least $100 plus, but it has so many of these, almost like the animation cells, and then also the different, what would be like the character analysis, what they look like from the side, from the back, all of those profiles. It's awesome. And it gives insight as like what the artists were thinking and how they treat each of the stories differently, and the identifying the studios and what they're known for and what artists they put on the team to do it, because that has a lot about the language and the style of story that they tell. So this one, if you are a fan of books, this is a beautiful, it actually comes as a 2-part series.
A big boxed, like coffee table book kind of thing, I guess, right?
Yep.
You would call that?
Yep, absolutely. So let's see. You can see it's blue. There you go. Yep.
Natasha in the chat says she doesn't want it to be canon because she feels like it would be more rigidly controlled if they wanted to be, and fans would pick it apart. Let it be free. Valid point.
Yeah.
Valid point. But I feel like now that it's out and they had kind of carte blanche to do whatever they wanted, and it is so good, the existing stuff, I would be happy for that to become canon. But the point about letting them work with a blank canvas is really good.
Yeah, I mean, they're taking creators from outside of like Lucasfilm and they're creating some good stuff. It's almost like akin to like think about like a Kickstarter or something. It's like you have these like other studios in a non-canon sense making Star Wars characters. It's also the same thing as like using the like 4th version of a Stormtrooper helmet that didn't, like we were talking about right now. It's like
right.
these characters or art are being used, and maybe a decade down the road, it just winds up in something. Like it's not that big of a deal, especially if those. Maybe because these stories are not canon and they're not even coming close to being like affecting anything from the major storyline, like it might be pretty simple to just put one of these characters in something, and like the creation is done already. You just have to either live action it or Clone Wars animate it. Like it's an interesting thing. I wonder if that's like on the radar at all.
Or simply mention it in a canon thing, like the way Life Day became canon.
Yeah.
At the beginning of The Mandalorian. Physics Buddy Joe says, I Am Your Mother Season 2 has Wedge running a flight academy. I don't remember that well enough to have any thoughts on that, but point taken. Well observed, sir, as usual. Anyway, good shit. We love it. That's the point. Next up, we have Star Wars The Mandalorian Visual Guide, of course, by Pablo Hidalgo. Is this the first Mandalorian visual guide we've gotten for real? From the whole series?
I think there's an unofficial one.
Weird.
Yeah, I think if we look it up, well, Jason's probably going to pull it up, but no, I'm pretty sure there hasn't been one that's done the full 3 seasons.
Jason says yes. Everything else was just an art of book. So that's great.
Okay. There's been a couple where, like, I think some of the smaller publishers were basically putting Mandalorian Way or something, like they would just make like a book that basically just had a bunch of promo art,
right?
That they would just make up stuff for, that I'm sure was just more for a $5 book somewhere. But no, I think this is the first time we've gotten this level of a breakdown as to what we know and love. And it looks awesome. There's like, finally putting that render of Zeb in there. I think we've seen that Carson Teva shot before, or at least, I don't know, Jason, is that one new? I think that might be new, actually. That's got his.
It reminds me, is there a cutout? Is there a cardboard cutout of him?
Yeah, that's what it looks like. I think that's what it is.
Yeah. It's from his character poster, Jason says. Okay.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yep.
So here the landing configuration on Moff Gideon's tie.
The
It's
Outlander.
too small. Yeah, too small to read right here, but it's going to be interesting. You know, I bet there's so much stuff that they did, you know, that came from Dave and John just playing in the sandbox and the toy box like they talked about, that they hadn't necessarily fully hammered out the dates, the locations, the names, the details that were ready to be put in a book like this. And now that they're working on the movie, it seems like whether it was in collaboration with Pablo or whatever, got it all worked out. And I would think that a dude like Pablo Hidalgo would come with like dozens of pages of questions. Like, okay, let's do this. Here's what everyone's talking about. Here are my questions. What does all this shit really mean? Let's canonize all of it.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. Next up, we have a couple High Republic Dark Horse comics. The High Republic Adventures Pathfinders by George Mann, Partha Pratim, and Jagdish Kumar and Michael Tia, we'll say. Maybe that's the pronunciation. New miniseries from Dark Horse follows a brand new team of Republic Pathfinders as they're dispatched to a distant corner of the galaxy to investigate the strange death of a Jedi Master. It takes place about 20 years after Phase 2 of the High Republic. No release date announced yet. I think we can all say confidently more High Republic is good. Stoked to see it happening. You guys know anything else about this?
No, just that just that I would be stoked to see some kind of live action or animated development for High Republic.
Yeah.
100%.
Seems great for animation.
The final novel came out, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that project. So, was it called Project Starlight? No, Star something. Whatever the Luminous Project.
Star Wars.
Complete. Yeah, Star Wars.
Did Kevin Scott write it, or was he just? Did I remember him posting it because he was one of the writers?
I think he was one of the writers.
Yeah. You had a lot of like, you had Claudia, George Mann, Daniel. You had a ton of people on there, but Kevin Scott wrote probably my favorite books. Rising Storm was amazing. Phase 1 was huge for me. I think what happened, like we got busy with life and in Phase 2, and you know, I have the books. I'm still catching up, but I mean, Phase 1 of High Republic came out swinging. It was awesome.
Ooh, Jason pointed out something great on the second cover here. I don't see these numbered, but one of the two covers that we're looking at of this High Republic series, one of the Jedi has a Halcyon style.
Oh yeah, the shield. Yeah.
Shield like you would use in lightsaber training on the Star Cruiser.
Yeah,
pretty amazing. That's going to bring a tear to some eyes. The next thing, the community, the millennials who love Star Wars are all just like, you know, in full standing ovation moment for this. We have Jar Jar Binks #1 by Ahmed Best and Mark Guggenheim. It's a all-new one-shot comic. Jar Jar and Kelleran Beck. They're on the main cover. This is it's about forming the Rebel Alliance and the role that Jar Jar played in that. So, on one hand, you have the redemption of Jar Jar Binks as an era, you know, and the return of Ahmed Best and all this great shit that's happened the past, you know, 5, 6, 7 years, whatever it's been. But then on the other hand, that's the last nail in the coffin of the Darth Jar Jar theory. It's done.
Yeah.
So that is the loss that we're all going to take because of this. But I don't think we could be more excited for Ahmed Best and happier for him to have this opportunity and to be in this era of his Star Wars career. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Has anyone ever made a Jar Jar like Star Wars logo mashup?
Jar Jar Star Wars logo what?
Like mashup. Like They both end in AR, like Jar Jar's Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like just in the font. I feel like I've never seen that.
I've never seen that either.
Interesting.
Mike,
Mark,
get on it. It's $1 million idea, damn it.
Right, we could do that. We can make t-shirts. Mark Guggenheim is in entertainment is well versed in a multitude of different things. So I think this would be a really great little piece for Ahmed to get his storytelling out, and having someone like Mark Guggenheim help with that could lead eventually to something else. I mean, guy's pretty well connected. He's had a long history having successful projects in TV and movies. So I think this is a step in the right direction of keeping Ahmed Best involved in Star Wars. The more we learned about his role in the prequels, specifically Attack of the Clones, was pretty prolific, and he did not get the credit that he deserved. And so to see the whole, Kelleran back the whole idea of him just coming back into Star Wars, I think is really important. And so the fact that it wasn't just like we brought him back for the reunion tour, to show that Ahmed is involved in Star Wars, continuing to be brought into Star Wars, I think is a great thing. So I will add these to my pull list.
Speaking of things that we're going to pre-order on day one, The Art of Star Wars Andor, dropping May 19th next year. I mean, what do we have to say? This is essential. We're pumped.
Yeah, this for a story that was put, I think for the amount of production that Disney put into this show, specifically season 1 and 2, I do like that they didn't do season 1 and 2. I like that they just do Andor as one entity, and I'm sure that we might get, The Art of Rogue One is an amazing book as well. But I like that they did this as one story. I think that's great. So just knowing how much went into the concept art, Michael Wilkinson obviously won an Emmy for the costuming work on this. So I think this is just a absolute, just a rose in the cap of all the band members on Ferrix that are still holding their heads high at this point. But yeah, this is a day. I might actually already have it pre-ordered, and the person who took my order was like, "This doesn't come out for a while. You sure you want us to hold your money?" I'm like, "It's fine.
Shut up and take my money.
Take it."
This, of course, written by Phil Shostak. To your point about the production, the design and the amount of real life full scale sets that they built, yeah, I'm excited on that level for sure. The next thing, the Doug Chiang Cinematic Legacy Volumes 1 and 2, or Cinematic Legacy is Volume 1, the Star Wars Legacy is Volume 2. Mike, talk about this one because you know more stuff.
Sure.
Also pre-ordered?
Say that again?
Also pre-ordered by you?
Yes, I have this on pre-order. Absolutely. This comes out in December. And really what this is, I think if you have the at the Taschen books, which are the art of, or the kind of the story, the archives, they're these huge books. They're heavy as hell. I bought mine. I had the original author who was kind of the main museum collector, basically, of going through the archives. It was one of the first times that Lucas let somebody else not involved with Star Wars have full access to the archives. So he was going through, dailies, production schedules, budgets. He wanted receipts. He wanted all these things that Lucas had kept, and found some really incredible stories that we didn't know about Star Wars, including how close they were to actually missing the premiere, and how close they were still shooting certain pickups and editing the movie and putting it in front of executives for final pass was literally weeks before it came out. So a pretty incredible process. And so those archives books that you can get from Taschen, they go on sale all the time, but they're incredible. It's, in terms of a holiday gift for a super fan, it is worth every single penny. So the Doug Chiang books, of course, speaking of Drew Struzan, speaking of Ralph McQuarrie, This is probably most like the Ralph McQuarrie books, which is kind of the legacy of the body of work. So Doug Chiang has his story as him as an artist and then becoming the senior creative of Lucasfilm, starting all the way from his time on The Phantom Menace, going through a lot of his work and seeing how influential it was on the rest of Star Wars, and then that he would go to eventually green light everything that would happen in Star Wars from that moment on is pretty incredible. So you have two collections, one to honor Doug and then also to honor his time in Star Wars. Pretty awesome.
I mean, what great thing haven't we said about Doug Chiang? You know, this is, oh, look at that. The mirror finish on the book Mike's holding right now. That's a big ass book.
It's nice. Well, these are actually, so these are the lithographs. So these are basically a bunch of 11 by 17. So you'd hold them upright like this, but they're all designed in landscape. This is actually unopened. I've never opened this, which is quite, I paid a little bit for this. But this is,
you got to buy two so you could open one.
That's right. That's how you collect.
A classic collector's conundrum.
Otherwise it's a white glove experience.
Exactly. But I think for, Roosevelt's did an awesome collection of just Doug's concept art, and a lot of his work is so like the battle droids and the N1s, the original N1 starfighter. I mean, these are, when we look back on it and think of the way that McQuarrie influenced Star Wars from the moment he put paintbrush to paper, Doug Chiang, Drew Struzan, Doug Chiang for Star Wars, without a doubt, one of the most top creative, probably next to George himself at this point.
Yeah. Living legend. And one of the most chill, sweetest dudes, or people, period, we've come across. I mean, in terms of like the ratio of how big of a legend they are and how legit and cool they are, I don't think there's a more like, I don't think there's anyone that exists with that ratio of those two qualities,
Yeah. He's an artist for sure.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Speaking of legacy and innovation and things, Industrial Light and Magic, 50 years of innovation, celebrating 5 decades of making cinematic magic. There's a panel at New York Comic Con with a first look at a few of the photo spreads inside. This comes out in January. This is something I'm going to have at once. I don't know if it's available for pre-order yet or not.
Oh, it is, baby. It definitely is.
All right. Well, Mike, you want to talk while I go ahead and click on Safari here and
click pre-order?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, just like Drew Struzan, Industrial Light and Magic, for people who watch the documentary Light and Magic, which really kind of goes to show that Star Wars, of course, was the on-ramp for what eventually would become an entire highway for visual effects as we know it. And so this kind of shows is kind of what I would consider to be a companion piece, coffee table book, in-depth analysis, interviews, stuff like that, for stuff that didn't make it into the documentary. The documentary has to be edited. It has to be, it has to be kept up with on and now at this point, a 10-part series. But this is really just that story of how Industrial Light and Magic started in a garage with a couple of guys who were into RC cars and motorcycles, and then ended up making arguably the most important visual effects studio in cinematic history. And whether it was, you've got Phil Tippett here with his stop motion creation of the AT-AT on Hoth. It's a book that, if you appreciate cinema and the work that Industrial Light and Magic still continues to do today, Adam, you just saw Tron. This is one of those things where you go, if you support all of the work that has happened up to this point and appreciate its influence on modern cinema, I would almost say even beyond that, they were using classic techniques, painted plates, forced perspective, all of those things. It's a book that you've got to get.
Dude, I just pre-ordered it. It just happened.
Done.
This is a beautiful book.
What's the release date on that?
January 13th, 2026.
That's soon enough.
Yeah. It's a red sort of like canvas with gold leaf and gold. What do you call it? The gold edge sheet.
Kind of like the are those like Star Wars archive books? I think one of them is
it looks
like kind
like
of
a big
that.
Bible or like an old encyclopedia or something.
Yeah.
But dude, honestly, just clicking through this gets me choked up. I love it so much.
Gotta have it.
It's pre-ordered. I did it straight from the Abrams Books website. Free shipping, $70. No brainer. God, I love this so much. Makes me so happy. All right. And let's see. Lastly, we have here's some more shots from it in our slides here. There's Jurassic Park. There's the wireframes, the CG wireframes, and then a screenshot from the film. Pretty amazing. Lastly, we have the art of Star Wars: The Acolyte. Not to be confused with the Acolyte visual guide, which I have here as well. That was Pablo Hidalgo. This is Kristen Baver. Not familiar with that author, but
Kristen runs the Star Wars show.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Duh. Okay.
Yeah.
We got some concepts for The Stranger. The shit looks
scary,
amazing.
Dude.
Terrifying. Some of this, it's almost like Alien mixed with like the spider with the globe on Tatooine outside Jabba's house.
The Boromir monks.
Yeah.
Well, in some ways, like even just looking at it, it feels very similar to like the original concepts for Darth Maul, like too scary, that ends up becoming Mother Talzin. So yeah, this is another absolute pickup. I mean, I think most people can agree that the Stranger in his own was a fantastic villain.
Yes.
And so even just to get more concept art they could release this on The Stranger, a study of villainous Star Wars characters, and I'd be like, yeah, I'll buy that too.
Sign me up. All right. Ordered. All right. Let's wrap up with one question from, what are we going to call it? We didn't do our homework. It's this, though.
I have an urgent communication.
I better play back the whole thing.
We bring a message.
Patch him through.
Is there any more of this recording?
You're playing the wrong message.
Look, I can't hold forever.
Intercepted transmissions, is that what we used to call it, Nick?
Transmission sounds right. I don't know about intercepted.
Something. We've received... We have intercepted a transmission. This one comes from old physics buddy Joe, patron. If you want to be a person who can send us one of these voice messages, you got to be a patron, just so you know.
I have an urgent communication.
I better play back the whole thing.
We bring a message.
Patch him through.
Is there any more of this recording?
You're playing the wrong message.
Look, I can't hold forever.
Hello there, Think the Maker crew. This is Physics Buddy Joe. I was just wondering, with the four main media types of Star Wars, with books, comics, movies, TV shows, which comics or books do you think could be made into a really good movie or TV show? And which movie or TV show do you want to have an adaptation in a comic or in a novel? May the Force be with you.
This is a very good question. Very relevant. I mean, this Star Wars Legacy book, the Leia and Rey thing, is very compelling. We all talked about how excited we are for this. This doesn't directly answer the question because we're talking about adaptations, but exploring this era that is nearly impossible to tell. Why did that go away? Nearly impossible to tell because Carrie's gone, and would feel dirty and gross if they tried to do it entirely in CG. This is great for this kind of thing. In terms of adaptation, though, I'd have to think for a second. You guys have ideas?
Mine are probably the two books I've spoken about the most, and however many episodes we've had. Bloodline for sure. Has, to me, I haven't read every book obviously, but it has an insanely huge moment in the Skywalker saga in it. It's something that while you're reading it, you're like, oh, I didn't even realize that the galaxy didn't know this. There's a huge moment about Leia in there that I would have loved to seen adapted. Of course, that would have to be animation. And then I just mentioned it before, Shadow of the Sith. I mean,
Nick, real quick before you say the Shadow of the Sith thing, is it Leia stepping down from, or she could have been Supreme Chancellor? What's the moment?
No, I mean, the moment.
Spoil it.
Yeah, I don't really want to spoil it, but it's a pretty massive moment, and I'm lucky that my reading comprehension wasn't on vacation while I was reading that part of the book.
You can never know, you know what I mean? You're reading it, you're just like, oh yeah, 4 pages. What did I just do?
Yeah, but Shadow of the Sith 2, I mean, it seems like it was almost written in, like, I don't want to say knee-jerk reaction to all the holes of Rise of Skywalker, like all the things that we needed to know. There was a lot of stuff in there that would be pretty helpful.
Amazing. I have thoughts about that, and I have an answer. Mike, do you have an answer right now, or do you want to just dip and finish talking about this in the bonus segment for patrons?
We're going to talk about it more in depth, but my quick answer for the podcast for the listeners is Light of the Jedi was such a cool. It's hard to keep up with because there's so many characters at the beginning, but once you understand the scope of like why this emergence happens, like what's actually happening here, would crush as a trilogy. If they were to do Light of the Jedi, Rising Storm, and then. It's hard to say where they would want to end it, but like there is an incredible idea for pitching Star Wars that has no connection so far to the rest of the saga, because I think people would be on board with it, but not in a way where we have to bring in characters like Yoda, even though he's in it. That would be my answer for a live action from a story to episodes TV to a book. I would love to know more about what's happening on Mos Espa in the Book of Boba Fett. Love to know more about it. There was a lot of time that was passed. It was actually a relatively small amount of time, but I would love to know where the rest of Tatooine is. I'd like to know more of what the Hutts are happening, what's going on with the Hutts. And I know that Mando Grogu is going to be part of it, but that would be that's my quick answer. To be discussed in the bonus segment.
Absolutely. We're going to do that now. Everybody, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. It's good to be back. I can't say confidently that the next several weeks or months aren't going to be as tumultuous as they've been recently with touring schedules and all this inconsistency. But there's shit coming up. We need to talk about it. We're excited. We're happy to be together right now. We're happy to be supported by the patrons that we're about to talk to directly right now in the bonus segment. Do we need to say anything else? We said enough stuff at the top of the show about what's coming up, so we're just going to get the hell out of here.
Mm-hmm.
See you in Vegas.
See you in Vegas. Till then, may the force be with you. Thank the Maker is produced by Adam Russell and Jason Chiodo, and edited by Jason Chiodo. If you enjoy the podcast, you can support us by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. Or you can support us directly at patreon.com/thankthemakerpod, where you can get access to our Discord server, exclusive content, exclusive merch, and more. Our patrons literally make Thank the Maker possible.